Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramannasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatu me Bho Rama Mamuddhara Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. You can repeat. Tadjnanam prashamakaram yadindriyanam tadneyam yadupanishad sunishchitartham te dhanya bhuvi paramartha nishchiteha sheshastu brahmanilaye paribhramantah Adau vijitya vishayan madamoharaga Dveshadishatrugana ahruta Dveshadishatrugana mahruta yoga rajyah Dveshadishatrugana mahruta yoga rajyah Jnatva matam samanubhuya paratma vidya Jnatva matam samanubhuya paratma vidya Kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyah Kanta sukham vanagruhe vicharanti dhanyah Tyaktva gruhe ratimado ghati bhetu bhutam Tyaktva gruhe ratimadho gati hetu bhutam Atme chayopanishadartharasam pibantah Atme chayopanishadartharasam pibantah Atme chayopanishadartharasam pibantah Atme chayopanishadartharasam Vitaspruha vishayabhogapade viraktaah Vitaspruha vishayabhogapade viraktaah Dhanyascharanti vijaneshu viraktasangaah Dhanyascharanti vijaneshu viraktasangaah Tyaktva mamahamiti bandhakare pade dve त्यक्त्वा ममाहमिति बन्धकरे पदे द्वे मानावमानसदृशा समदर्शिनश्च मानावमानसदृशा समदर्शिनश्च कर्तारमन्यमवगम्य तदर्पितानि कर्तारमन्यमवगम्य तदर्पितानि कुर्वन्ति कर्म परिपाकफलानि धन्याः कुर्वन्ति कर्म परिपाकफलानि धन्याः. Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is telling us about the true meaning of dhanyata. We saw that this word is something which is used for the one who is giving and also for the one who is receiving. Whenever we receive something nice from another person, the greeting we say is Dhanyavadaha. Dhanyavadaha means whatever you gave, for that you are blessed. And the one who is receiving it, he also feels Dhanya. He says, I am also feeling blessed for what I have received. So you are Dhanya because you gave. I feel Dhanya because I received. So first verse, three things Bhagavan pointed out. Jneyam, Jnanam, Iha. Those who have clarity about nature of self as indicated in Upanishads. Means they have done Shravanam, they have done Mananam and understood what is the goal of life. They are blessed. What will take them to that goal is Jnanam, knowledge. So those who have knowledge of this absolute truth, in a way that this knowledge has actually quietened their mind and sense organs, they are blessed. And this person doesn't feel knowledge is also there, but whatever things mind used to bother, same thing is bothering even now. This sadhaka, he feels blessed because his mind is quietened in light of this knowledge. And third is, all his actions are done in light of this knowledge or to gain this knowledge, to get more self-abidance, that is his goal. Second verse, Bhagavan indicated the journey. He said we have to start with conquering Vishayas and all inner enemies. Then only Brahma Vidya can take root. Without plowing the land, even if you put the best seed, it will not sprout. So Brahma Vidya might be great. We might have studied with a lot of elaboration, details. But for it to actually work, what we need is weeding out the unnecessary things first, then plowing the land, then putting these seeds. So Adav Vijitya Vishayan, conquering the taste for sense objects, conquering pride, conquering ragadvesha, all of that is preparation of the land. Then Jnatva Matam Samanubhuya Paratma Vidya. Then whatever he has understood, it shines forth brilliantly. It shines forth brilliantly and he can live his life reveling in this knowledge. Kanta Sukham Vanagruhe Vicharanti Dhanyaha. So Paratma Vidya becomes his companion, Brahma Vidya becomes his companion, and he can revel in knowledge and also in his own self. Sometimes reveling in knowledge is seen like an academic exercise. It is something which is a book And just like a scientist revels in science, student of Vedanta revels in study of Vedanta. That part is true, but in addition to that, he has understood what I need to revel in is Atma. That Atma which is aparoksha, that which is my own true nature, in that I have to revel. Study of Vedanta is to help us in this only. It's not an independent pursuit. Then came the third verse, where Bhagavan pointed out three main obstacles. If we want to revel in Atma, if we want to feel Dhanya, what are those three things which will hold us back? First he said, Rati in Gruha. Rati in Gruha means over-dependence upon comfort. Adogati hetu bhutam, it is something which will take us downwards. Therefore he says, Tyaktva, give it up. The first obstacle is comfort, becoming over-dependent on it. Then the second obstacle was spruha. Spruha means memories, recollection of past bhoga. That will again increase more vasanas. It will not allow Brahma Vidya to take root. This new joy that he has discovered, he will not be able to benefit from it. Until he is holding on to previous joys, this new joy is as though not available to him. Vita spruha vishaya bhoga pade viraktaha. He has become dispassionate, distanced himself from these kind of thoughts, spruha. Second obstacle he has overcome, if he is able to do this. And the last one he says, Dhanyashtaranti vijaneshu virakta sangaha. He is very mindful of the company that he keeps. Very mindful of the company that he keeps. Now and then likes to spend time in solitude. Not because he is turned off from the world, but he wants to invest in his own mind, invest in his deeper reflection. The purpose of solitude is that. Purpose of solitude is not really speaking to stay away. Purpose of solitude is to make creative use of that time. For that, he is seeking the right company and staying away from dussanga, staying away from those who don't have the same goal as him. Ramakrishna Paramahamsi, he went to a museum once and he came back and told everybody, I went to a museum and let me tell you one thing, the influence of company is great. Influence of company is very powerful. He said, what did you see there in the museum? He said, there I saw a fossil. The fossil, he says, this animal has become a stone. What was an animal at one point? Just look at the power of company. Staying there in that position for such a long time, it has turned into a stone. He says, be very careful of the company that you keep. Then another devotee was there next to him. He said, if you go to our village exhibition, for 15 years, you will find different illustrations to keep teaching. Because the way he would look is, whatever he sees, his mind is in Vedanta. His mind is in Bhagavan. How can it help a spiritual seeker? But the main point there is, this person is seeking satsang. Seeking those topics which will keep his mind enriched. So virakta sangaha means he should not let go of satsang first. So virakta sangha means let go of all other sangha which one need not do, one is doing it only because of desire. Vedanta Sara language, kamya karma. Nishiddha karma, of course, we have to leave. But kamya karma is something which is going to hold me back. certain socializing one need not do, but one ends up doing because of inner push. This is those places he has to stay away from. Now, why is he doing all this? He is doing all this because he has found a goal in life. Atmechaya kurvanti. Because he has this desire for Atma, desire for self-abidance, he is having all these sadhanas in his life. Goal in Sanskritam is called as lakshya. Lakshya means goal. Lakshya also means that which shines and that which indicates. So we have to keep asking ourselves, is my goal shining in my life? And is it powerful enough to give me a direction in my life? So if somebody says self-abidance is the goal, is that goal inspiring? And is that goal pulling me back from doing erroneous things? Erroneous things meaning which will slow down my progress towards my goal. The one who discovers this goal, that person's progress is multifold very fast. The whole play is of goal only. Atmechaya. One traditional example is given for this. If you see a moth going into fire, generally they get attracted to fire. See a moth going into fire. Person looking outside, from outside, what will he say? Moth is going towards fire. This moth is going towards fire because action is seen in the moth. What they say, if a wise person looks at it, he will say the fire first entered as an image in the moth's eye, went and sat in its head, and it wanted to get this fire. Because of that, it is going towards the fire. Means the one who is pulling it is its goal. That goal came in first, and for that goal, you see all the movements, all the actions that this moth is doing. So like that, you might see a sadhaka doing japa, doing different sadhanas. The one that is driving him is his lakshya. One that is driving this sadhaka for all his pursuits, that is his lakshya. So time and again, we have to take an honest look at ourselves. I am studying Vedanta, doing a lot of sadhana, doing karma yoga. But has my goal become clear to me? Is my goal inspiring enough to actually take me forward? Another place, they give another example. You see a garden which is so beautiful. If you see a garden which is very beautiful, our attention goes on garden, but not always on who owns the garden. Mostly attention gets stuck with the garden, not who is owning the garden. It's just like that, we see this world. Our attention gets stuck with the world. It doesn't go to whom does this world belong. The moment attention shifts there, then the ichcha to know him, desire to know him deepens. Devotional path, they will say, world belongs to God. So just like we have to shift attention away from that garden and look at the one who owns the garden. In the same way, shift attention from world to the one who owns this world. In Vedanta language, they will say, from adhyastha shift attention to Adhisthana. From the superimposed, one should seek the substratum. Another example is magician. Magician puts the magic show, which is very fascinating. But attention has to go to magician, not only the magic show. Because magic show is short-lived, it is not real. In that whole thing, the one who is real is magician. He showed so many things. So Ichha should not be for magic show, Ichha should be for magician. In the example. So in the main point, Ichha should not be for Maya, Ichha should be for Maya Pati. Maya is magic. Kenapi upayena, whatever method it takes, manah Krishne niveshayet. One should seek God and put mind in Bhagavan. Whatever is the upaya, whatever is the method. That is this word, Atmechaya Upanishadartharasam Pibantah. Those who study Upanishad with this firm conviction that I am seeking self-abidance. Puja Guruji, he explains this point for this line. He says there are different types of Shrota, different types of listeners. Some listen to Vedanta. What is their goal? Kaan pavitra ho jayenge. Ears will get purified. Means you hear so many things, right? You hear movies, songs, news. One good thing also let us hear, Vedanta. Second person goes to see how much the speaker knows. Vakta kitne pani mein hai. How deep they are in the water. To test that, they listen. But then there is a group of sadhakas who will listen with varanam, who will listen with this firm resolve that I am seeking self-abidance. 3 different types of shrotas. So this person is the third type. Atmechaya Upanishadartharasam Pibantah. With the resolve for Atmanishta, he does Shravanam. Next verse also was an indicator on what are the things which bring finitude. Different facets were pointed out. We had seen this verse from the standpoint of Gyani. Tyaktva mamahamiti bandakare padetve. He understands that this ahankara which is there, aham, the small I, that is the culprit which has brought about finitude in my infinite existence. In my own nature which is infinite and blissful, this ahankara, aham, has brought in finitude. And there can be no absolute happiness in finite existence. This desire to become infinite alone expresses as all desires. But the only catch there is, we hold on to a conditioning and then we want to become infinite. Whichever great emperor was there, great emperor means they themselves put the name, Alexander the Great. So those emperors, whenever they went for quest, you look at their quotes. I want to conquer the whole world. I want to conquer all kingdoms. That is the inherent desire to become infinite. But what was the path they chose? Holding on to their finite ego, wanting to become infinite through that ego. Whereas this Gyani has understood, infinitude is my nature. I don't have to become infinite. I have to let go of this feeling of finitude. That is why he is Tyaktva aham mama iti bandhakare padetve. He lets go of first aham, which is ahankara, and whatever this ahankara owns as mama. This is one difference between aham and mama. Pure consciousness, when it identifies with body, wherever it can have aham buddhi, there it says aham. Infinite consciousness starts saying I. Like if body is tall, I say I am tall. Mind is disturbed, I say I am disturbed. So wherever this I is going, all those attributes get superimposed on me. Technically speaking, how do I say this is my body? So I should say this body is tall. But I don't say it. I say I am tall. Ahankara has gone and owned up this nature of body, taken on the nature of sharira. But there are many things outside which I cannot have aham buddhi in directly. There I have mama buddhi. If I have a car, I don't say I am the car. Although I have connection there, but I say this is my car. So aham translates into mama. Infinite consciousness first tries to become infinite through aham. Different parts of the body it identifies, and that infinitude it wants to claim more and more through mama. Greater the mama, greater this ahankara feels. Whatever land is there, all away till you can see horizon, everything is mine. So aham might be one person, but this land which is so big, he feels this is mine, so I have become big. This is the play of ahankara. It can seek through land, it can seek through power, it can seek through wealth. Some might not seek through land, they might seek through power. The most powerful position that should become mine. But this Gyani understands, no matter how big you become, you will always remain finite. Nobody can make finite into infinite. A finite entity cannot be made into infinite entity. So there he recognizes the Vedantic way of becoming infinite. Vedantic way of becoming infinite is understand your own Swarupa to be infinite, which we were asleep before, and letting go of this finite ahankara. Then what is the result for him? Manavamana sadrushaha. All experiences he is unaffected. Yesterday we were seeing example of an elephant. Elephant is symbolic of knowledge. Ganesh Bhagavan also we say Buddhi Devata he is. Means least concerned about praise and insult. That is one insignia of knowledge. Gyani is the one who sees both as mithya. Entire Jagat is mithya. How come praise and insult are satyam? So in his understanding he has this conviction that mana and apamana both are mithya. Manavamana sadrushaha samadarshinaschya. Samadarshina means one who sees whole world as sama. One who sees whole world as Bhagavan, that person is Samadarshi. Samadarshi either from bhakti standpoint or from Shuddha Chaitanya standpoint. The one who sees consciousness as all pervading. that person is Samadarshi. Swami Vivekananda ji, when he goes to Ramakrishna Paramahansa for the first time, his question to Paramahansa is, have you seen God? And Paramahansa says, I see him more clearly than I can see you. Then the next part is interesting. He says, can you show me? Can you also show me? Then he tells that God alone is real, everything is nothing but God. But he said his previous background, Swami Vivekananda's previous background was such, it was difficult for him to take this teaching that everything is God. He says, what is it? I mean, this jug is also God, this plate is also God, this pillar is also God. He says, it looks very strange teaching. Then he goes and tells Paramahansa, and he just touches him. With that, he gets Bhava Samadhi. And he says, for several days, all he saw was God. The plates, jars, jugs, which looked name and form to him, he says, for several days, it was difficult for him to do vyavahara, difficult for him to do any transaction, because he would not see anything but God. That is where he writes, I had to hit my head to a pillar twice to see whether it is real. Means what I saw there was only Chaitanya, not Namarupa. Then of course he comes back and gets that state on his own tapasya. This was just a glimpse that Ramakrishna Paramahansa had given. Lakshya should become clear. He said, this is your goal. This is what he gave. Then again he goes and gets it. Means we won't understand or appreciate the words unless we see it in a life of a saint. What is Samadarshi? Samadarshi is the one who doesn't see world as world, he sees world as God. Samadarshi-nascha. Kartaram anyam avagamya tadarpitani. Now for a jnani, his abidance is in Atma. So who is doing his vyavahara? Who is doing his transaction? This is Prakriti is doing the transactions. Three gunas, they are doing transactions, not me. Kartaram anyam avagamya. Karta is somebody different, not me. That is why in Tattva Bodha, if you see, last portion, Agami Karma. Agami Karma is those karmas which are done after knowledge. So Shankaracharya writes, every karma should give karmaphala. When Jnani does karma, where will karmaphalas go? This is because kartrutva is negated in him. There is no doership in that jnani. So where will karmaphalas go? Shankaracharya writes, whoever praises the jnani gets all his punya. And whoever criticizes the jnani gets all his papa. When jnani is free in both ways. This is another way in which that line is explained. Nadatte kasichit papam nachaiva sukrutam vibhuhu. That line also is explained from a jnani standpoint. What is jnani's understanding of aham? Not body, not ahankara, but atma. So jnani, when he is abiding in non-dual self, whatever actions he does, he says those results don't come to him. And whatever papa karma might be there of the past, prarabdha related, he says that also doesn't come to him. So in both ways, he is untouched. Jnani is untouched by papa and punya. And in his own eyes, how does he see? Kartaram anyam avagamya. Sees karta as not himself, different from himself. Surrendering to that, tad arpitani. Surrendering to Prakriti, whatever actions are there, that he continues to do. Kurvanti karma paripaka phalani dhanyaha. Karma paripaka means results. Phalani is those results which are coming as byproduct of actions. All those he offers to Prakriti. Doesn't have any expectations of joy coming from Prakriti. That is the meaning. Now, if you have to look at it from a sadhaka standpoint, same verse, how will it open up? For a sadhaka, to totally negate aham is not possible. If that kind of shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam is not done merely by listening that ahankara is mithya, it will not work. So one who has put forth effort, for that person, he can directly say ahankara is mithya. What is the step before such that we can prepare ourselves for the next step? The step before that is loosening ahankara, mellowing down ahankara, and mellowing down mamatva. Instead of having strong attachment, he say have divine attachment. Divine attachment, where this sadhaka says, Bhagavan, I cannot remove my aham. No matter how much I listen to Vedanta, to say ahankara is mithya is not possible. But I will hold on to this aham, that I belong to you. मैं सेवक रघुपति पति मोरे. The abhimana that Sutikshna ji asks. He says, Bhagavan, to remove this ahankara is not easy, but I can add something more to this ahankara. What is it? That let me not forget this fact that this aham belongs to you. You are the main karta, I am your karana. Now with that, what about mama? I say, whatever mama I have, whatever things I call as mine, everything belongs to you. Puja Guruji has written there, I am just a tenant, not the owner. I am a trustee, not the owner. With that bhavana, he lives with all his possessions. And he feels, whenever I forget this fact, for that extent, for that duration, it has brought me more stress. If you want to see how much of a stress it brings, first sit down and think, okay, what all things I call as mama? And just look at how much of control I have over my mama in the future. Bhavishya Kala, which is going to come, how many things can I conclusively say? This is how this thing has to be. Anything, huh? Chala sampatti, achala sampatti. Moving and immoving. In both these things, whenever he looks at Bhavishya, there is so much uncertainty. The safest way, he says, Bhagavan, I will do what I have to do as far as my kartavya is concerned. But may this thought be very clear that this sampatti belongs to you. Whatever bhaga jiva has, bhaga means fortune. He says all of that bhaga belongs to Bhagavan. He is the true owner. With that in mind, he says live a blissful life. With that in mind, live a peaceful life. That is the meaning of this line, Tyaktva mamahamiti bandha kare padetve. He feels whenever there is aham and mama, it's a bondage. This point Goswamiji mentioned in the beginning in Balkanda, when he was talking about satsang mahima. He said the greatness of satsang is whatever good fortune a person has received, Mati ki rati gati bhuti bhalai. Mati means intellect, good fortune as far as thinking is concerned. Kirti, good name. Gati, good place, good destination. Bhalai, all well-being is there. He says, So janab satasanga prabhav. Understand that all of that is grace of satsang. Now somebody might argue, there are so many people in this world, they have mati, they have kirti. Everybody doesn't read Bhagavad Gita, everybody doesn't read Ramayana. So there, some Mahatmas, they explain that chaupai. They say, true value of gaining a thing is only when we don't have fear of losing it. True value of gaining a thing is only when we don't have fear of losing it. That fearlessness comes through satsang. That fearlessness comes through satsang. Whatever this person has is not anxious about those things. How did he get it? Through bhakti, through devotion. Third line has worked for him. Kartaram anyam avagamya tadarpitani. So here Kartaram will be Bhagavan. Understanding Bhagavan to be the Karta, the one who is involved in all phases of my life, that person is blessed. To illustrate this point, how Bhagavan is Karta, how he only does things in our life, the story of Samudra Manthanam is given. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the symbolic meaning of Samudra Manthanam is this line, Kartaram anyam avagamya, tadarpitani karma paripaka phalani kurvanti. Devatas, what they realized is this, that no matter what we do, the one who is getting it done through us is the Lord. In project management, they have different phases, right? First phase is conception phase. Then they have planning. Then they do execution. Third phase is execution, right? Fourth one is control and monitoring. Whatever things are there, they have to control and monitor. Last one is closing. How do you close the project? Bhagavan became the boss in all 5 phases. Samudra Manthanam story, if you see, project management it is, in a different way. First, our devatas go to Bhagavan and they say, Bali Maharaj is becoming powerful and Indra Bhagavan does some mistake. Durvasa Rishi gave him a garland, he put it on his elephant, Airavata. What does elephant know who gave garland? He just takes and throws it, steps on it. Durvasa Rishi curses him, you will become Nisteja. You will lose all your power because you have gotten this pride. Then Bali Maharaj attacks Devatas. The first conception of how to come out, Bhagavan says, you cannot go and fight on your own. You have to take support of Asuras, go and build a friendship with them. Indra Bhagavan says, friendship with Asuras? He says, just do what I am telling you. Go and tell them, we need to get Amrutam to become immortal. We ourselves cannot do. You come with us. Then all planning they do. He says, Bhagavan only tells them, if you have to churn Samudra, churn the Milky Ocean, you cannot bring ordinary boulder. You have to bring Mount Meru. And if you have to churn it, you can't bring ordinary rope. You have to bring Vasuki. All of that he tells. What is the third one? Execution. They bring Mount Meru, try to bring it. Right when they are bringing it, it starts crushing all of them. It's so heavy, nobody can lift it. Bhagavan sends Garudji to lift it, put it in Milky Ocean. Then when it is kept there, it starts sinking. Fourth phase also, he takes care. How to control this Milky Ocean. How to do the churning part. He says, I will become Kachapa avatar from down. Means Bhagavan pervaded that whole scene. From the bottom, he became Kachapa. In Mount Meru, he became Bhara, the weight. And in Vasuki, he became Nidra. He became sleep. And he said, Devatas, you hold the tail. Asuras, they will hold the head. Devata said, why should we hold the tail? He said, just do what I am telling you. Then that poison comes. Whatever is there, he takes care. And finally, Mohini Avatar is the closing part. The whole Avatar, he says, divine qualities should be with Devatas. This Amrutattvam which is coming, it is divinity. That should be with Devatas, not with Asuras. So that part also, he takes care of it. Then what do Devatas understand? Kartaram Anyam Avagamya. He said, we went to build friendship with Asuras. We went to bring Mount Meru. We were pulling Vasuki. But the one who was actually doing it, that was Bhagavan. The one who gets this understanding, that person is blessed. The one who starts feeling that Karta in my life is God, that person is Dhanya. How will his Vyavahara be? Manava Mana Sadrusha Samadarshi. The one who is devoted to Bhagavan, he sees Bhagavan as everybody. One who is praising is also God. One who is insulting is also God. In both ways he is equanimous. Now this particular point, right? The Tyaktva Mama Aham Iti Bandakare Padetve. This is a very deep Vedantic point. More we appreciate it in our life, many things will open up with regards to being happy. Right? Because what are we seeking moksha from? We are seeking moksha from that thing which is binding us. What is binding us? He says sorrow is binding us. And here it is said, the root of sorrow is mama and aham. How should we understand it? Wherever there is attachment, wherever there is strong attachment, there this person is vulnerable to disappointment. Wherever there is strong mamatva, there disappointment can very easily come and enter. Where there is no mamatva, it is not easy for that object or person to disappoint. You take any example, the point is to notice how disappointment is very subjective. Same thing doesn't disappoint us all the time. Let us say we read in the news, today 150 flights have gotten cancelled. 150. That's just a news for us. We don't have to go anywhere. 150 flights got cancelled. But let us say if I was supposed to travel in one of those flights, some sambandha is there. That same news gives dukkham. Same news gives dukkham. And what will be the extent of my sukham or dukkham? My extent of attachment. If I was really attached to going to that place, any obstacle in between, that will give dukkham. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi, he explains this point with another story. He says there were two friends, Ram and Krishna. Both of them went abroad to do business. One person flourished very well, and second person went bankrupt. And somebody from abroad, they were going to their village. Both of them were from a very humble village. They had not stayed in touch for a long time. So Ram tells, you are going to my village, tell my parents that Ram has flourished in his business and Krishna had some difficulties, went bankrupt. Now this person goes and flips the name, goes to the village and says, Krishna flourished in his business, Ram went bankrupt. And this Ram's parents start lamenting, Krishna's parents start rejoicing. Then he would say, none of them has actually seen Ram or Krishna yet. And both are experiencing different emotions, totally opposite to what is the reality. He says, what brought this emotion is mamatva. It's very much possible when Krishna's parents are lamenting, or Rama's parents are lamenting in the beginning, Krishna's parents might come and tell, it's just a business. Why are you so bothered? But then let us say, if they come back, both of them come back and they say, Arey, Krishna has gotten difficulty in his business. So then Ram's parents have to convince Krishna's parents. He says that is the role of attachment. It doesn't allow us to think clearly. Mamatva that is one of the main insignia. In Ramcharitmanas, when Parvati ji does tapasya, Narad ji comes. Before she goes to tapasya, Narad ji comes and he sees her hand and he says, your husband will be aguna, amana, alakshana, one who is not having any gunas, not having any self-respect, amana, no qualities. Means he was explaining Lord Shiva, but you can take it in both ways. Mother of Parvati ji, Maina, she gets very anxious. What does our daughter have in her destiny? Naraji said all these things. Himavan, he gives a very nice chaupai there. He says, drop all these worries. Drop all these worries. Sumirahu Shri Bhagavan. Remember the Lord. Parvati niramehu jahi. Soihi karihi kalyana. The one who has made Parvati ji, that Lord alone will take care. Don't get too concerned about what is going to happen to your daughter. She has come through us. The one who has really sent her is the Lord. That is one facet of Abhimana, one facet of Mamatva. That wherever Mamatva is strong, that thing will disappoint us. Mamatva can be with objects, it can be with people, it can also be with opinions. If 1 out of 10 opinion was picked, and if that happens to be not my opinion, this person feels, I was not picked. He is very well there wherever he is, but that mamatva is with opinion. That is one facet. Second facet is, we should notice in what things we feel mama. What things do we call as mine? We don't call anything and everything as mine. If I am walking on the street and I see a nice house, I don't suddenly start calling this is my house. Right? If I do that, it is called as mithya abhimana. It is not abhimana, it is mithya abhimana. Very quickly it will fall apart. Some car is parked, I don't go and say this is my car. What are those things which I call as mine? Those things which I have earned through karma. Whatever I have earned through hard work. Karma sometimes doesn't convey the message. Whatever I have put forth effort and gained, that thing I call as mine. So this mama to emerge, mama to rise, there is a cause. It doesn't randomly happen. In everything we don't start seeing mamatva. Wherever we have put forth effort and gotten that thing, built that sambandha, that thing we call as mine. Now somebody might say, what is wrong? If I worked hard and I got something and I'm calling that thing as mine, what is wrong in it? Why do you say mama and aham is bandha kare? The problem there is, if anything is gained because of karma, that thing will be impermanent. That thing will be short-lived. It will change in such a way, it will not ask me before changing. If it has to go, it will go in such a way, it will not take my permission before going. So if this person holds on to a thing which is constantly changing and can go away anytime, that will become his bandhanam. Mamatva, the way it becomes bandhanam is, even though it is gained because of karma. Karmaphala, there is no, it doesn't come with this assurance that it will remain the same all the time. If I invest my joy in that thing, if that thing changes, my joy also changes. If you want a more closer definition, example for this, just look at this body. Why do I call this body as mine? Why don't I call my neighbor's sharira as mine? Because jiva has karmaja sambandha with his body. It is gained through karma. Now what is wrong in calling something which is karmaja, gained through karma, as mine? If you call it as yours, pay close attention. It's constantly changing without seeking my permission. And whatever changes are happening to body, if my sukham is invested there, whenever dukkham comes because of sharira, that becomes my dukkham. Means we should ask ourselves, what is worth calling as mine? In this world, what is worth calling as mine? What can I really call as mine? Means it should be available to me all the time, should not change, should not go away without asking. He said we can only call that thing as ours which was never away from us. That is our true self. Other than that, anything we hold on to, it's only matter of time. Sorrow is coming from there. This is where the spirit of karma yoga excels. They say whenever you hear these things, it is not to paint a pessimistic picture of life. Oh, I cannot call anything as mine. Everything is changing. Everything is impermanent. Although it's a fact. In Buddhism, this is the main thing which is emphasized to become a mumukshu. They say unless we see dukkham outside, we will never turn our attention to something more nobler. So sarvam kshanikam kshanikam, sarvam dukkham dukkham. Everything is temporary. Everything is ridden with sorrow. But Vedanta mellows it down. We say, if there is an impermanent object, if we know how to relate with it, we can still be happy amidst those impermanent things. The best example for this is flower. In our garden, if you have a beautiful flower, now we all know flower is impermanent, but we can bring it inside. Fragrance can, increase the beauty of the room. And if I want to make the best use of it, I can put it on the Lord. Same impermanent flower, used in the right way, becomes meaningful. So like that, he looks at everything which he calls as mama. These things are impermanent, no doubt. But just like I use the flower to decorate the Lord, I will use all my possessions for spiritual pursuit. For attaining Bhagavan, starting from this body, whatever things he calls as mama, he says, I will use all of that for this purpose. Then it doesn't become bandha kare pade. Although being impermanent, although being something which will change with time, go away with time. But he says, I have used it well when it was available. That is this verse, Tyaktva mamahamiti bandha kare padetve. We saw from two standpoints. One is from Gyani standpoint, another is from Bhakta standpoint. Both are dhanya. Both are dhanya. So we won't have session next week and Thanksgiving week. Next we will meet is on Thursday after Thanksgiving, which is November 30th. 4 more verses are there that will continue. But until then, happy Diwali to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving, those who are coming to the camp. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. Shivamahimna Stotram. And I hope to see all of you on Diwali day. Hari Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.